The Bosphorus on Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock on Radio 4. The Prime Minister's speech yesterday touched a raw spot where religion and politics meet. He floated the concept of what he called muscular liberalism and used it to suggest a set of challenges he argued should be deployed to identify extremism in Muslim groups. Speaking at the Munich Security Conference, he attacked what he called the doctrine of state multiculturalism.
When a white person holds objectionable views, racist views for instance, we rightly condemn them. But when equally unacceptable views or practices come from someone who isn't white, we've been too cautious, frankly even fearful, to stand up to them. The failure, for instance, of some to confront the horrors of forced marriage, the practice where some young girls are bullied and sometimes taken abroad to marry someone when they don't want to, is a case in point. This hands-off tolerance has only served to reinforce the sense that not enough is shared. And this all leaves some young Muslims feeling rootless.
Well, I'm joined now by Humza Yousaf, who's a community activist in Glasgow, Father Phil Sumner, a Catholic priest with long experience of working in divided communities, and Robin Simcox, who's a research fellow at the Centre for Social Cohesion think tank. Father Phil, quite complex ideas we've just heard. Do you think there's any truth in them?
There obviously is some truth in them, because it's important for people to have that sense of belonging to a particular community or a wider community. So, for example, where I work in Oldham, it's important for people there, as Muslims, as Christians, as whatever, to feel that sense of belonging to the wider community. But to be able to enable that to happen, first of all, this is the part he doesn't deal with, you've got to have a sense of your own personal identity and a strength in your own personal identity. Otherwise, the relationship building will not take place. And if you attack a person's identity, which seems to be happening in what the Prime Minister has said, his use of the word muscular liberalism seems to set this language of the war on terror, where you have liberal democracy on one side and obviously Islam, the world of Islam, on the other side. He uses the extremism, but he actually widens it out in the course of what he's saying as well, to include other people rather than just extremists.
Humza Yousaf, what's your reaction to hearing the Prime Minister state very boldly there that society is quick to condemn white people who have extremist and unacceptable views, but draws back from doing the same thing when people are not white?
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple of points to be made, and chatting to colleagues up and down the country, you kind of get a sense that there's common things that they really disagree with. As Father Phil says, there's one or two things everybody can agree with, and I think the main thing that has got to people is, one, the timing certainly didn't seem to be very helpful with the EDL march happening in Luton.
It's the English Defence League.
Yeah, it's English Defence League march that was going on in Luton, one of the biggest neo-fascist gatherings we've seen in recent times, and there was no mention at all of that kind of right-wing fascism. The second point, I think, was the complete focus, as Father Phil said, on the Muslim community, again creating a sense of the Muslims will be the problem rather than perhaps part of the solution. And the third thing is that people just are not getting a coherent message from the government. I mean, 2 weeks earlier, you're having Baroness Warsi saying that it's very unhelpful to split people into the extremist or moderate category, and here you have David Cameron constantly referring to extremists, moderates, extremists, moderates, extremists, moderates. And so you're getting a very, very kind of complicated message from the government.
But what about the point I've just asked you about? What's your reaction to hearing him making that distinction between the way society treats unacceptable views when they come from different quarters? Do you think it's true, I suppose, is really my question.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I think that sometimes we can get far, far too lost in some of the sensationalism and believe some of the headlines. And I think, admittedly, I think Muslim groups and Muslims, maybe they need to be slightly more vocal on some other issues from their own community, but the moment we treat this as a Muslim-only problem and the Muslims have to be vocal about extremism, then we've completely lost the point and we're completely playing the blame game, which is not helpful in the slightest.
Mr Simcox, what do you make of the point that Phil Sumner has just made as regards the language? Talking about muscular liberalism has a slightly aggressive feel to it.
I actually don't think it does. I think to talk about liberalism and somehow interpret that as an attack on Islam to be honest...
I think they used the word muscular that Father Sumner had in mind.
Sure, but I think we needed to be much more secure and much more vocal in what it is this country represents. I think that's what the Prime Minister was trying to get across. I would also say he did specify that this wasn't specific to one religious or ethnic group. He made great efforts to distinguish Islam from Islamism, the political ideology. He was very defensive about that. So I feel as if we're really in danger of finding offence when there is none there to be taken. I thought the Prime Minister was actually very careful with his language.
Humza Yousaf, he did try and make that distinction very clear, didn't he? He did. I think I'm quoting him, specifically say the problem is not Islam, the problem is extremism.
Yeah, well, this is sometimes some of the problem. I mean, I don't think he was necessarily being offensive. I just don't think the message was particularly clear. As long as you predicate a speech with Islam means peace, or there's a distinction between Islam and Islamism, it doesn't give you a kind of free-for-all to then say what you like. I mean, just one of the, I'll give you an example of one of the complexities or one of the incoherent parts of the speech. It's just, they're always talking about state multiculturalism and how integration has failed, but, some of the most high-profile terrorists in recent years have been what you would call, quote-unquote, the most integrated. I mean, Mohammed Sadiq Khan was the ringleader of the London bombings. And, he was a teacher or a teaching assistant, I think he was. He was called Sid by his fellow friends. And then you've, of course, got the multitude, unfortunately, of white convert Muslims that have been extremist or radicalised. I mean, were they unaware or unfamiliar with British values? Absolutely not. And who would teach them to speak English? So it's just this kind of really incoherent message, I think, rather than taking offence.
Father Sumner, we've been talking a little bit as if he was discussing identity. In many ways, he was actually discussing values, wasn't he, which is distinct from identity. He said you've got to sign up to these, democracy, free speech, freedom of religion, and so forth.
But you don't accept the values of a community until you feel valued yourself. And that's a clear approach that we have in all of the work that we do. You've got to nurture somebody's identity. When somebody feels as though they are respected and valued, they begin to accept the values of society. They begin to fit in and have that sense of belonging. Without that, you have an often stigmatized cultural community. And that's exactly where multiculturalism has to come in. All the real academic writers, Madood, Charles Taylor, Will Kimlicka, and all the others, apart from Barry and Amartya Sen, are really on the line of multiculturalism. So where Gordon Brown and now David Cameron are going with their Britishness and now the sort of the values thing is taking us down the road that I think the other academics are not going.
Robin Simcox, we've had a number of emails, as you'd expect. We've had a very large number of emails on this subject, both for and against what the Prime Minister said. But just let me read you one which is critical of his remarks from Kalpana Lloyd. Could someone ask the Prime Minister why he's made these remarks all of a sudden? No statistics have come up with which links multiculturalism to extremism. No devastating incidents have happened recently. People are trying to mingle with the general public of the country, which is a sign that I assume that means multiculturalism, is working slowly but surely.
Well, I think that what the Prime Minister is trying to address is a larger problem. I think for too long the government's been happy to deal with self-appointed gatekeepers within the Muslim community without necessarily questioning their commitment to democracy often. And this is something the Prime Minister's trying to change. I mean, I think the point he makes is a true one, is that you wouldn't go to... If there's a problem with communities, you wouldn't address them to other white racists to deal with the issue of, for example, the BNP. And I think this is something that he's trying to get at, and it's not just it's a problem that's been going on for a long time with past administrations.
But he does also specifically, so he sort of bats aside what he calls the culture state multiculturalism, doesn't he?
He does, but I think the fact is that there is a real recognition that it hasn't worked. We have divided communities into minority and majority groups where, for example, I mean, if I consider myself a cultural Christian, the Prime Minister would never think to him to go to the Anglican clergy to find out what I think. But I think for too long, Muslims, the temptation within government has been to go to self-appointed groups to find out what whole communities think, and I think this is entirely the wrong way to go about it.
That's an interesting point, Humza Yousaf. Could you respond to that?
Well, I can't disagree with that point in engagement. I think far too often governments, and this government, the previous government, and previous governments to that, the engagement has been entirely superficial. It's been a case of let's throw money at organisations, let's put our logo in a leaflet, and that's about just as far as we'll engage with them. Whereas I think people like Father Phil has been engaging with on the front line, groups in Oldham and others. Nobody's talking to them at all. But responding back to the point that your emailer made as well, I mean, the cynics, I suppose, among us would say, just as Angela Merkel, when she made her remarks about multiculturalism failing in Germany a few months back, it tends to be when politicians are languishing in the polls, this is an easy stick to beat people over the head with. And an issue that certainly needs addressed, but where did it come from is definitely a question we need to ask.
Well, it does. I mean, looking at these emails, it's an issue that it resonates with many of those listening. Father Phil, let me put to you an email from Pamela Welsh. David Cameron is right that multiculturalism doesn't work. People coming to live in another country must accept and respect the culture of that country. Integration is the only sane way ahead.
Integration is the only sane way ahead, but it's not to be seen as assimilation, and there's a big difference. The model that we usually talk about in this sort of work is the salad bowl rather than the soup. If you expect everybody just to mingle in and become like everybody else, then it's a recipe for disaster, what Amartya Sen would call fermenting the very martial art of confrontation. Whereas if you have a salad bowl, everybody understands who they are, their distinctness is respected, and they begin to fit in a much better way. And that is the approach that is working in Oldham. We've gone from a very different, very low base, so 27% say they get on better with their people of different ethnic communities, to 32%. So there's many other indicators that would show the same thing, that we are working.
There is obviously a big political dimension to this, and Robin Simcox, I probably should put to you what the Shadow Justice Secretary Sadiq Khan said about the speech. He accused the Prime Minister of writing propaganda for the Nationalist English Defence League.
Yeah, well, obviously, I don't agree with that. I think if you actually look at the rhetoric, it's extremely similar to things that Prime Minister Blair said when he was in charge. I think that the fact that Sadiq Khan would say that is entirely disingenuous. And the fact is, I think a lot has been made of the timing of this discussion in the context of the English Defence League march. I think a lot of the things that drive groups like the EDL and people that join up to the EDL is government's perceived reluctance to do things about the extremism problem, and that's why I think it could be possibly helpful timing.
Sadly, we must leave it there. Riveting stuff. Robin Simcox, Phil Sumner and Humza Yousaf, thank you all very much indeed.